Hello and welcome to today's lesson. In case this happens to be your first time watching one of our videos on this channel, my name is Wes. The channel, Interactive English, it's all about just trying to help you improve your English skills with vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation. And today we're actually going to do an activity to help you practice your listening skills. So even though you are practicing your listening skills right now, just listening to me speak, we're going to make it, this is going to be an active listening exercise. And when I say it's going to be an active listening exercise, that really means that, you are going to need to participate. You will need to actually, answer some of these questions because we're going to be discussing, this is going to be an IELTS listening practice. Many of you have asked me about the IELTS, and I think even if you're not planning to take the IELTS, it is a test. This lesson will help you. It's still going to help you practice your listening skills, which is the most important thing. But in case you are unfamiliar with the IELTS and you don't know what it is or you have not heard of it, it is an English proficiency exam that is used by academic institutions or even some professional organizations. And they may ask people to present an IELTS score so that they can kind of get an idea about your English proficiency. So when you go and you take the IELTS exam, there are different sections. There's a listening portion, a reading, a writing, and a speaking part of the IELTS. Today we're going to be working on, practicing your listening skills. And what I've done is I've taken part of a IELTS practice exam, and we're going to look at that today, and that's what we're going to practice. And we're only going to do one part of it because usually each part of the IELTS, it takes some time. But I really wanted to just do one part and kind of examine and then go over the answers. So this is a good way to practice your listening skills, and that's why I said it's going to be more of an active listening exercise. Okay, so the first thing I would say about the IELTS is that so many of you what do I need to do to get a good score? How do I improve? This is a very simple explanation of my opinion of what you can do to succeed, what would help you. And I would say that you would study the test. And this is not something I would recommend if you just want to improve your overall English, but if you are focused on getting the best score that you can on the IELTS, you need to study the test. And what I mean by that is understand what the test is about. Understand what they're going to test you on and how they're going to test you, because the more you know about the exam, I think the more comfortable you're going to feel when you go in there and you're getting ready to take it. And if you feel more comfortable, you feel more confident, then chances are you're going to get a better score. The other thing that I'd say, number 2, understand the directions. So when it comes to the IELTS listening, the one thing I told you to, maybe for this lesson, it'd be helpful if you had a pen and a paper so that you could write stuff down. Because you're only going to be able to listen to it one time. And that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to say the passage one time, and you have to write down the answers. So you need to know that. It's good to know that. Make sure you understand that before taking the IELTS, before you go in there. I'm not kidding. When I would teach the IELTS and I would do some practice with the students, and I would have a class of students and we would do this, and I would tell them I would read the instructions the same way that they would do when you go to take the IELTS. You're going to hear this one time. And I would play the audio for the class, and almost always after it was finished, somebody would raise their hand and say, "Are we going to listen to it again?" I'd be like, no. One time. That's all you get when you're taking the IELTS. So that's all I'm going to give you guys. And then the other thing, just like anything else, practice some more. The more you practice, Again, it's just going to help you build your confidence. It's going to help you feel a little more comfortable when you go in there, because I think anytime somebody takes an exam, it's not it's an environment that's full of anxiety. It's not like you're in the most comfortable place. A lot of times people are nervous, but the more I think you practice, then the less nervous you will be. And like I said, that goes for anything. Like if you're getting ready to give a presentation, the more you practice giving that presentation, chances are you're going to do a better job giving it when the time has come. So I told you we're going to do two parts to this. Let's look at the first part right here. So I apologize. I can't really make this bigger. So what they would tell you, this is just one section of the IELTS. This is for questions 11 to 15. So I am going to read this passage. I'm going to read it just one time. And as you're listening, I want you to answer questions 11 to 15. And normally with the IELTS, they will show you this. They'll give you a little bit of time to read these questions so you kind of know what you're looking for. And right now I'm kind of dragging out this explanation in order to give you time to look at these questions, number 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So what we can do, just to make it very clear and very easy for everyone, I'm just going to go through and I'll read these questions for you, and then we'll read the passage. You'll write your answers down, and then we'll go through one at a time to check out your answers. To check your answer. So number 11, it's saying the September celebration day is held, 5 times a year to honor the city, on the park's important birthday, to remember the history of the park. Number 12, the park was first built in, you get 3 choices, 1955, 1979, or the 1990s. Number 13, the park still uses what? A children's play area, a petting zoo, or 2 of the early rides. Number 14, the Hurricane roller coaster is what? Tall and made of wood, designed for smaller children, very fast and exciting. And number 15, the rides with a height limit are coded yellow, blue, or black. So this is the practice part, and that's a great question. Lavinia asked, what's a roller coaster? So again, when you're taking this exam, it's useful if you're reading through it that you know the vocabulary. That may not be the case, depending on what kind of questions they ask you. But a roller coaster is if you go to an amusement park, the roller coaster is the one that you get on, and it'll kind of go up slowly, up, 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 up. It's like you're on like you're on a track, and I don't want to say it's a train, but kind of like similar to that. And you go up, 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 and then you go around, and you're kind of going all over. So you're on a track the same way that a train is on a track, and you just go really fast. And it typically takes you up and then down, and then sometimes you'll spin around. Very, very common rides at an amusement park. So now that we've read these questions, we're going to go through this. I told you it's an active listening exercise. I want you to participate. Try to write this down, and then we'll go through them, because I'm not going to go through, I'm not going to stop and then go through each one one at a time. So are you ready? So as I'm reading, just follow along. The one thing I will say that with many of these listening exercises, they typically go in chronological order, which means that question number 11, you're going to hear that first, and then you'll hear number 12, 13, 14, 15. That may not always be the case, but more often than not, it's going to just go in order. So not to confuse you too much. All right, let's see. Wait, Musa says 11 is A. How do you know? I haven't started reading yet. Okay, so just listen to me read it. I'm going to read it one time, and then we'll go through and talk about the answers. So this is good little practice. Are you ready? Well, yes, you're ready. Excellent. So let's begin. Good morning, everyone. We're very pleased to have you here at Lunar Realm for our September celebration day. We have many smaller celebrations throughout the year for different events. I think it was 5 at last count. But the September celebration is a special day to honor the park's development from tiny beginnings to the huge enterprise it is today. It's our most significant annual event. Come into the visitor center now. Over here, you can see a picture of the original park when it was under construction. The land was donated to the city in 1955. By then, Mayor Matthew Hardiker, it was donated in 1955 by then Mayor Matthew Hardiker, but the park itself wasn't developed until 1979. And you'll notice it wasn't very big at the time. Then there was huge growth in the 1990s, and we're still growing today. In the beginning, there were only a few small rides in the park. There were lots of other attractions in those days, including an adventure playground for younger kids. The kids loved the petting zoo with its farm animals, and in fact, that's the only attraction that has survived until now. We've still kept 2 of the original rides as an exhibit, but they're not working in any working order anymore. We're now one of the biggest amusement parks in the country. We've got an amazing range of amusement rides here, 43 in total this year. I think we're most famous for our roller coasters, aren't we? I guess you've all heard about the Hurricane. That's the oldest and our most famous one. Some of our visitors think it's not fast enough, to be truly exciting. It's not fast enough to be truly exciting, but we love it because it's the highest wooden roller coaster in the country. Then we have the Bobcat. That one's a bit gentler for our younger visitors. And for the truly adventurous, the Scream Machine hurls you upside down and backwards at huge speeds. It's too much for me. It's important to remember that all of our rides have age guidelines, and to help you, there's a color system. If the sign for a ride is yellow, it means it's suitable for all ages, although we do recommend that parents and older siblings go with very young children. Blue means that children younger than 14 can ride only if an adult accompanies them, and black, well, this means that you must be at least 110 centimeters tall to ride, regardless of age. We should say that no rides are really suitable for children younger than 18 months, but we do have a special section for parents with babies. Okay. I see all these, everybody's just going through, throwing them in there. All right, that's fine. I hope that you guys were able to follow along. It wasn't too difficult to understand, my speech. I'm sorry if I fumbled that a little bit. Fumbled it means that it wasn't completely clear and succinct, because I did misspeak on a couple of times, but I apologize for that. So let's go now and look at questions 11 to 15. So let's start with 11. All right, so you guys, I know you're throwing in a bunch of them right now. Let's focus on 11 right now. The September Celebration Day is held what? Which one is it? Is it A, B, or C? All right, what do you guys think? And again, this is why I said it helps if you had have a pen and paper, that you can write this down and then go back instead of trying to do it from your recollection. All right, so Michelle Leonardo, lost my focus during the reading. Yes, that does happen. So we have, Lavinia says C, Hiwa says C, Takayo B, Black says C. Okay, the correct answer, I'm going to read the part which has the answer, and then I'll tell you guys what it is. So number 11, when they're talking about the September Celebration Day is held, it says the September celebration is a special day to honor the park's development from tiny beginnings to the huge enterprise it is today. That is your answer, which means that it's C. The correct answer is C, right there, to remember the history of the park, because they talk about from the tiny beginnings to the huge enterprise it is today. And this is something that they do with these IELTS exams and many other listening tests. You're not going to hear the word, word for word, from what you listen to what the answer is. what they'll end up doing is that they'll say the answer, but they'll give it to you in a different way. So what you heard me say, it's similar to C, but it's just worded differently. And I think that's pretty common. The next one, this is a little more specific. You need to listen for it, but then understand the information they give you around it. The park was first built in what? I talked about, you heard me mention, sorry if you guys did not get that one. I know it can be a little difficult. That's why you got to kind of write them down as you go along and listen to it. The park was first built when? All right. I talked about all of those, 3 of those years and a little bit around them, 1955, 1979, the 1990s. All right. So I'm seeing some answers between A, one for B. The correct answer, well, let me read it to you, the part where you, and then you, just so you know, so it's clearly, I think it's easier when I actually highlight, specifically tell you where it is. So it said, remember, the land was donated to the city in 1955 by the then mayor, Matthew Hardicore, but the park itself wasn't developed until 1979. The answer is B, 1979. That is when the park was developed. So again, they're talking about the difference between developed and built. So in 1955, they got the land for the park, but actually it was not, construction did not start, it was not built or developed until 1979. Again, they're just using different words. Number 13, the park still uses what? Did you guys hear that one? Which, there are different things that it mentioned about the park, but they said that one thing is still in use today. Do you remember what that one thing, what that was? Let me read you that part. And what does it mean? Develop. To develop just means like to build, to construct something. So in this case, when you're talking about like a home or a building, develop, build, construct, they're all synonyms. So number 13, let me read it and then tell you, I think you guys probably got that one. So it said, the kids love the petting zoo with its farm animals, and in fact, that's the only attraction to have survived until now. So the petting zoo has survived, which means they still use it. The answer is B. Number 14, we mentioned, talked a little bit about roller coasters. They're on those tracks. I think they're a lot of fun if we go to an amusement park. The Hurricane roller coaster is what? What did you hear? I mentioned the names of a few different roller coasters, but you should have been really listening for the Hurricane and got that information about it. Let me read you the part about the Hurricane, and then again, once you hear me read it, say it again, and you're listening for it, I think it becomes a little more evident. The Hurricane, that's our oldest and most famous one. Some of the visitors think it's not fast enough to be truly exciting, but we love it because it's the highest wooden roller coaster in the country. So it's the highest wooden roller coaster in the country. That means that A, it is tall and made of wood. And then number 15, I talked about those 3 different colors and gave some information about them. The ride with a height limit the rides with the height limit are coded with what? Which of those colors? Yellow, blue, or black? If you're unsure or you didn't hear that, I'll read. Let me tell you that part. You can listen for this. Well, again, I'm just giving you the answer. It said when I was telling you this, and black. Well, that means that you must be at least 110 centimeters tall to ride, regardless of age. So that is the only one that has a height restriction. The answer to that one is C, black. All right, I think you guys got that one. Excellent, excellent. Good job, good job. So let's look at the next part. Again, I chose this because I was hoping that it would be a little easier to follow along. Some of the other ones are like a dialogue, a discussion, conversation between two people. And that would have been a little stranger for me to read, do different voices. I wasn't going to try that. This is also kind of a continuation of talking about this park. And you have questions 16 to 20. Again, what they would tell you is that the test would give you time to look at this right here so that you're a little familiar with what you're trying to listen for. So it's talking about food options, Italian, Chinese, etc. at the food court, hamburgers, sandwiches, etc. at what? So you see that at, and then you should know that you're listening for some type of place or location. Special events, parade, starts at noon on the what? And then it's run by the final year high school students. So it's like they're giving you just this list of information about the parade. The concert, there's going to be information about that. It's at the amphitheater. The theme. What's the theme of the concert? Starts at 7 o'clock. And safety and security, there are 10 centers in the park. Children ask any staff member for help. Ask the security team at the what? So again, you can kind of focus on that. Hopefully you have like a pen or a paper or something that you can write down 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 as you're listening to me tell you the information. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say it one time, and then we're going to look at it each one individually. All right. Are you ready? Here we go. So here we are. All right. Now listen and answer the questions 16 to 20. Now I'll tell you about the many options for food around the park. You can get a range of different cuisines, Italian, Chinese, and so on. And all of that's in the food court, in the center of the park. But there are lots of other places as well. If you want hamburgers, sandwiches, that sort of thing, you can find food stands everywhere. We pride ourselves on the quality of our food, and all of our vendors use fresh, healthy ingredients from local farms. Don't forget the special events we've planned for the anniversary celebration. There are 2 main events today, and they're both free. The first is the afternoon parade. It kicks off at noon, so arrive a bit early if you want a good view. The best place to see it is along the main street. It's all organized by final year school students. You'll see the gymnastics and acrobatics, hear music from a marching band, and see some fantastic floats. The parade has become one of our feature events of the year. The second big event today is an evening concert, which takes place at our main amphitheater. The concert features singing and dancing, costumes and lights, and there's a different theme each year. This year the theme is Hollywood, and it's all about classic style and old films. The concert starts at 7 p.m., but try to arrive by 6:45. Now I know you're all eager to get out there and have fun, but before you go, I'm just going to tell you some information about safety and security. If anyone needs medical attention, we have help available. You can see on the map that next to the visitor center, which is where we are now, of course, you can see this red dot. Yes? So that is one of our 10 first aid centers. If you get hurt, all you need to do is ask a member of staff to direct you towards the nearest one. And kids, remember, if something happens, you get lost and you can't find your parents, please tell someone who works at the park. Just look for someone dressed in the Lunar Realm colors and they will assist you. And for anyone who has a problem of any sort, you can come and talk to a member of our security team at any one of the main guard stations. Those are the blue dots here on the map. Don't forget to take a copy of the map. So this was a little more difficult because you actually had to this is where you would have to write things. It's not just answering A, B, C. So let's look at the food options. All right, number 16. Okay. So we know that Italian, Chinese, that food is available at the food court. Hamburgers and sandwiches. Can you guys tell me, where were those available? Let me read it back to you, what you heard, and then I think, oh, okay, you'll know what the answer is. So remember I said if you want hamburgers, sandwiches, that sort of thing, you can find food stands everywhere. So we're talking about a place, like a location. The food court has Italian and Chinese. The other place, the answer to 16, the only thing, food stands. It says if you want that sort of thing, food stands everywhere. So in this case, I know Sleepwire, you put everywhere. I think technically they want to hear those food stands. That's where, that's specifically where those hamburgers and sandwiches are located. Special events, we talked about the parade. I gave you some information. It starts at noon. And on the what? So where is it that the parade is? I think in this when I was telling you, I was talking about where you could get a good view. The first is the afternoon parade. It kicks off at noon, so arrive a bit early if you want a good view. The best place to see it is along the main street. So the answer to number 17, you hear that phrase. Yes, exactly, Lolly, on the main street. Right here. When I was looking at this, I think they would accept, like, if it's capital letters, like it's the name of the street, or even if it's lowercase, it seems like they would accept either one, but the answer is Main Street. And the concert, number 18. I gave you some information. It was at the amphitheater, and then we talked, I mentioned the theme too. Hopefully you caught that when you were listening to it. So let me read the part in the in the information where it is. So talking about the concert, it says the concert features singing and dancing, costumes and lights, and there's a different theme each year. This year the theme is Hollywood, and it's all about classic style and old films. So the answer to that, excellent. You guys got that one. Hollywood. Talking about the film industry. It's assuming that, well, you'd be able to listen to it, but that most people would probably be familiar with this word anyway, and they might know a little bit about it, that Hollywood is related to movies and film. And then finally, the safety and security. 10 centers in the park. So what kind of centers are in the park? And there are 10 of them. So hopefully you heard that and you would have been able to write it down. So again, it does get more challenging as you go through this. We did that first part that was A, B, and C, and now you're actually having to listen for it and then write in the missing information. So let me read the part and then I'll give you the answer. I see some of you got it already. It says, can you see this red dot? Yes, so that is one of our 10 first aid centers. If you get hurt, all you need to do is ask a member of staff to direct you toward the nearest one. So at the park, there are 10 first aid centers. You guys rock that one. I don't think whether you used a hyphen in between, I don't think they would count off for that. Typically, I would say it's most of the time you would hyphenate it because in this case it's like a compound adjective. It's an adjective before centers, so it's describing the center as a first aid center. I think quite often you would find it hyphenated. But anyway, first aid, that's the correct answer. And then, whoops, I almost just gave you the answer to the last one. It said, ask the security team at the what? Because it said children can ask staff members for help. Ask the security team at the, do you remember the last one? Let me kind of read it for you. It said, okay. It said, and for anyone who has a problem of any sort, you can come and talk to a member of our security team at any one of the many guard stations. Those are the blue dots here on the map. So the last answer to number 20 or at the guard stations. So this again, this is a I don't, it's not an official one. This is taken from the official IELTS site, which I've linked down in the description. If you happen to be taking the IELTS, I would definitely go check out that link. They do have a practice exam up there. This is where this information comes from. We just looked at a small part right now just to kind of, to let you get a little familiar with what is on the test, especially the listening portion of this. So you guys, I don't know whether you thought that was easy or difficult. Looking at what they had up there, I think this was probably, I think I gave you some of the easier parts of the listening because it was multiple choice, you're listening specific information, and you're just listening to me talk about some information instead of this back and forth dialogue, which I think may be a little more challenging for some people. So I hope that, again, you found it useful. Even if you're not taking the IELTS, it's always good to get listening practice. It's always good to make it like an active listening practice, such as the one that we're doing today. This is interactive English. It's all about being interactive and actually having you guys participate and try to answer these questions. I know some of you said it's pretty difficult. I think, that makes sense. This is a challenging exam. It is very difficult. The reason I told you that people would take the IELTS is if they want to maybe go to university in, the United States. Many of those universities, if you are coming from another country, they might ask you for like the IELTS exam or the TOEFL. And that allows them to make a judgment about your English proficiency to know whether or not you could survive academically. I think commonly it's mostly used for academic institutions like universities. So I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson. Just wanted to let you guys know, if you love what we do, want to show us some love, support the channel with a membership or on Patreon. I saw some members and patrons here with me today. Takayao, Lali, Iwa. So good to see you guys. Thank you guys. And next week, I will, as always, be back for another Saturday live lesson with you guys here. I hope you have, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you guys for joining. Just to give some shout outs, because I haven't really said many names today. Sleepwalker, Danica, Julio, Ragad, Stella Maris, Cassius, Tessie, I'm glad it was useful. Ten Kritika, good to see you again. Lacoseli, Takayo, thanks for joining. Yes, yeah, it is. The IELTS is definitely, I'd say, it's a difficult exam and there's a range of scores. It is very difficult, I think, to get a very, very high score on the IELTS. Michelle, Leonardo, Lucy, Marikash, Juliana, good to see you. All right, I gotta wrap things up. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will see you guys next time. So long.